Hey guys, my name is Marcos Teixeira, and I also wanted to contribute to this discussion with Dr. Dan McClellan. It's an honor, a pleasure to respond and have an opportunity. I just wanted to share my academic critique of what I've observed of his work with my proper analysis within the text of the biblical stories. One of the main things that I disagree with is this concept that there is no intrinsic cohesive narrative within the Bible. It's a general conception within the secular scholarship that the Bible doesn't have any sort of inherent meaning within it, that it can be sort of interpreted however we want to, which is disagreed with a lot of the majority theology. These claims are generally scientific claims posited by cognitive behavioral scientists of religion, imposing certain things onto the narrative that aren't actually observed within the writings of the biblical stories and weren't actually happening within the minds of the people who were writing and compiling these texts sacredly together. You know, these stories were put together by people who knew that they had a cohesion, a cohesive narrative together, or else they wouldn't have put them together in one book, right? They read the scriptures. They were very versed in these ancient authoritative literatures that they would meditate on and pray with every day, and they would put them together in order to read them in order, or to read them in a certain cohesion that was necessary for proper exegetical interpretation, for proper use within the authoritative landscape of the religion of the ancient Christians and also the ancient Hebrews. One thing that we have learned within the majority theology is that there is a cohesive, connective mind within the authorship of the scriptures, that the scriptures are inspired by what is called the mind of God. The scriptures speak for themselves, as the negotiation is actually internal within the text and proactively conveyed through the reader through instruction by the same mind that inspired the scriptures. This is a concept that is studied within theology. However, I claim and hypothesize that the mind of God can be studied scientifically within the cognitive sciences of religion. This means that we can find a proper scientific interpretation of God speaking through the scriptures. This can be retroactively observed through the cross-reference nature of the book of the Revelation of Jesus Christ to the Apostle John. It is the most cross-referenced prophecy in the entire Bible and demonstrates and reveals an acting external interjector within the text, giving John the vision, essentially influencing John and inspiring his writing. The several antagonistic characters illustrated within the text, such as the beasts or the dragon, are signs of a cohesive antagonistic narrative, revealing to the reader a conspiracy of government serving as a presentation device for serpentine deconstruction, recapitulatory, societal, and spiritual decadence. An example is an illustration of an angel flying through the air crying, "Woe to Babylon," in reference to the Western Roman Empire, a very strange occurrence in which the text reveals a sort of recapitulation of Babylon within the Western Roman Empire. These apparently separate civilizations, organizations, deities, entities are actually revealed within the text to be of the same order, or of the same essence, or the same demonstration. Divine prophecy in the Bible, as an external negotiation, I actually find it to be a quite incorrect interpretation from a hermeneutical approach. For the sake of exegesis, as more formally, something will be imposed onto the text, as I am in agreement with Dan McClellan. However, an internal eisegetical approach can also be proper for discussing, having a negotiation with the interjector who inspires the text, for an imposed and enforceable interpretation with regard to personal conviction of the truth claims recorded within the text. Simply put, God asks the prophet, "What do you see?" rather than, "What do you think?" God is not filtering the world to the prophet through a sequence of translucent symbols, but is revealing the world through a removal of a veil. The veil, as described in the text, is a cognitive barrier between the mind of God and the mind of the prophet, where God removes this veil, called apocalyptos in Greek, or revelation, where the barrier between the mind of God and the mind of man is removed, and God can communicate in fullness to the prophet within the scale of the concepts of eternity. These concepts are conveyed to the cognition of the prophet through a system of an order of signs. I call this order the significant. The significant order that is revealed within the Bible serves as a master signifier, an extra-dimensional self-referencing vector or directional indicator. The sign references other signs revealed to the prophets from a cascading delta. This delta is cascading from one established order, a significant order, one central sign, a self-referencing master sign, who is Jesus Christ. This is the revelation of Jesus Christ, who was and is to come. That the prophet is seeing how things are in a concept of time called eternity. Formally referenced from the delta is a central cohesive narrative structure placed within the eternal chronological mechanism within the cognition of the mind of the biblical God, who serves as the interjector to the delta of signifiers for the reader to enforce his interpretation of the cohesive narrative.